So I always forget how big the Sonos Arc is because the one I've currently got basically just sits behind my TV. Yes or no, it's not meant to be behind the TV for the best sound experience, but that's where it fits because of my console. It doesn't quite fit on the front with the TV at the same time, unfortunately. But I always forget how long and just the space they take up until this one, the new Sonos Arc Ultra, arrived, and I was carrying it, picking it up and trying to find the best place to place it in the studio to be able to film this video, because this table that I normally use is just not big enough to contain it. But anyway, I digress. This is the Sonos Arc Ultra. So it's the new one, and it's got some really cool stuff going on for it in terms of that new sound motion stuff, which we'll talk about. Remember that phrase or word or term, sound motion. We'll talk about that and see, talk about how that works and why that's important further down the line. But before we do that, let's just talk about the design, because not a lot have changed at first glance, but after a while you look around and you see that they've changed a few things here and there, and you start to notice where the changes are. So first thing first, this is still slim profile. It's slightly wider, but not notably wider that it's going to cause problems. It's slimmer in terms of the height as well, slightly ever so much. But with that, it just means it still fits nicely under your TV. So you can mount it, you can place it under your TV like so with no problems at all. This is the black version. It's also available in white. And this black version itself attracts so much fingerprint. So you have to bear that in mind. So kids, if you have kids around the house or anything like that, just don't touch it that much. Because if you do, you're just going to end up with loads of fingerprints that you have to continuously wipe off all the time. As always, it's finished in this nice metal material, the grille on the front, which is really cool, nice and premium. And on the front, we get that Sonos logo as always, and one indicator light that's just right above it, just about there. And then elsewhere, you start to notice on the back where the real changes are, because they've moved the buttons away from the actual system itself to place it on this sort of housing on the back, which actually quite looks cool, and it's flat as well on the back, and it has the mounting ports, so you can easily mount that on the wall. And I saw somewhere this still works with the Sony Arc's mounting kit, so you can still use it with that, but don't quote me on it, I just saw it somewhere. And that's pretty much it on that front. And then we're carrying on this bar though, on this back area here, so we get the play and skipping stuff to play music, skip audio if you want to. And then on the right side, we've got this voice stuff, so you can see the logo there, the symbol. And then on the left side, we get the what we call the slider for the volume, so you can easily just slide up and down for the slider whenever you need to do so. So that's pretty much it on the top area. And then we'll flip it over. This is where it gets more interesting because we get a couple of ports available. So we get Ethernet ports, a Bluetooth button, which I don't know why they've placed that Bluetooth button on the back, because that's going to be inconvenient. So once you've mounted this on the wall or whatever, it's just going to be annoying to have that there. I don't know why they don't include that as something you press as part of perhaps the two volume buttons together, or something to pull into Bluetooth pairing mode. And then we get the microphone switch, which means for privacy, you can switch that on or off, entirely up to you. And then what you might not see here, I put a B-roll for that, is we have two ports just logged in on the sides. So we have the power port and then the HDMI ports. There's only one single HDMI port on this, which is the eARC HDMI port. So with that in mind, there's no HDMI pass-through, which means if you have a TV that only allows for two ports, two HDMI ports, you're going to struggle to plug in other items at the same time, because what Sonos want you to do is connect this straight to the TV, and then what's connected to the TV, because what Sony wants you to do is connect this to your TV, and whatever you've connected to the TV then gets passed through this in terms of the audio. So bear that in mind as well. So it just means you have to buy a TV with more ports, potentially. And it comes with your user guide, so setup guide is in there as well, so you can give that a read. And to be honest with you, Sonos is probably one of the easiest systems out there to set up, because all you need to do is download the Sonos app, follow the instructions, and you are good to go. It's pretty much as straightforward as that. You can add it to your current system, and then also you can connect this up with like your sub or the new sub 4, which I'll show you guys as well, because that's seen some updates as well. So you can connect them all together, get some new Sonos era, I think, connect them together as well, and have this nice surround sound experience. And then you get your power plug as well, which is the usual Sonos power plug. But one thing about this that I didn't like is the fact that this is just a regular input like that. It's not L-shaped. It would have been nice if it was angled, so that gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of the way that you have your plugs shaped for cable management and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it in terms of what you get in the box, and just a rough overview of the design updates on what they've done to the Ultra. So let's talk about what's important here, the things that you need to know. They've updated the sound as well, so this now offers better bass, so improved bass experience, and also speech improvement for when you're watching your movies and that kind of stuff. And in app as well, they have different voice announcement levels as well, level 1 to 3. So we'll talk about that. So first thing, they've improved the sound experience. So this now has a 9.1.4 spatial audio experience, up from what we have before, which is 5.1.2, I believe. So that's been improved upon, which is good. This supports spatial audio, supports Dolby Atmos as well. It doesn't support DTS. Again, talking through all that pass-through system, DTS is not available here as well because they think Dolby Atmos is more than enough for what you need for that surround sound experience. In there as well, we have 14 Sonos engineered drivers in here, which sounds absolutely amazing. I'll talk through the sound experience shortly as well. This will cost you £999 here in the UK, so that's something to bear in mind. This is pricey, but it's also a long-term investment because once you get one of these, most likely you're going to have this for a long period of time. I've got the current Arc, which works absolutely fantastically well. I don't need to upgrade to this, even though I really want to, but what I'm trying to drive home here is that one particularly will last for a long period of time before you have to think about changing it. So if you get one of these for £1,000, it's going to last you for a few generations before you have to think about changing it. So more on the speaker setup. We have 15 Class D amps in here, and that's driving those 14 drivers. You also have far field microphone in there for TruePlay. And speaking of TruePlay, this now supports Android. So it's the first Sonos bar that supports Android to TruePlay in app as well. So that's really cool that they've included that and introduced that as well for the Sonos bar system. Then you have 6 mid-woofers and then 7 precisely angled tweeters. So these are basically silk domed tweeters, and they are precisely angled, so that way you get the best sound experience when you get that sound, that surround sound experience, if I can get my words out, so you get the best of those. On either side, so we have side firing speakers, which mean they disperse audio from wall to wall, again, for that surround sound experience. In the center, we have new speaker there as well, again, added to the sound experience. And then we also have a custom collinear waveguide here, which allows for that left, center, right dispersion of music or sound to make sure that, again, you get that really good surround experience. It doesn't end there though, because you also get some upwards firing drivers, because that way you just get sound coming from everywhere. So the side, the front, up and down. Use that TruePlay to fully tune your sound system to fit to your property or the place that you're going to fit it. And you get something like this that just offers you a really good sound experience in terms of that surround sound. And if you really want to complete that ecosystem of Sonos sound system, like I said, get the new Sub 4, which sounds amazing. Or if you have a property where you can't afford to have that there because it's too much, you can go for the Sub Mini as well to get that sub experience. You compare 2 Sub 4s with this, which just takes it to a whole other level, which is insane. And then also, you can just get those new era, get that surround sound experience to fully complete it. But what I was trying to say is, you can also get that new pair of Sonos Ace headphones, because with that, you can do handover of sound from this to your headphones. So if you live somewhere where you don't want to disturb your family, where they're sleeping, or it might get too loud, you can just fully have that sound immersed all by yourself in your pair of headphones. So that's another good benefit to having that ecosystem with Sonos. So the new Sonos Sub 4 season update as well. So this is new. It's got a new matte finish, as you can see straight away. But that also means it attracts so much fingerprint. So again, you'd have to keep wiping this, unfortunately. It's £799, and also it's got a new Wi-Fi radio in there. So it just means better connectivity. You can have dual orientation, so you can have it standing up like this, or if you want, you can even place it flat on the floor like so. It's entirely up to you how you want to place it, which is really good. It gives you that flexibility, which I quite like. Just like before, this has the force cancelling architecture, which means it eliminates things like distortion, buzz, rattles, or vibration unnecessarily, and it just works really well. The ported enclosure enhances the bass response and the low frequency. So all in all, you get increased processing power. It's got more memory as well, better Wi-Fi, and this new matte finishing. So one of the things you probably want to do as well is get this with your Sonos Arc Ultra, but that just means the pricing is just going up and up and up, because this is $799 and the other one is $999. So you're looking at £1,800 easily just to get those two systems to get that sound experience. So that's everything you need to know in terms of the design, the setup, what's new, everything that's inside this little package here. I say little, this package here, but in the grand scheme of things, that's everything you need to know. But how does it actually sound? It sounds absolutely fantastic. With that new sound motion, it actually offers improved bass. You can actually feel it. You know that it's different. And also, it doesn't take away from what we already know about the Sonos Arc system. It sounds already good, but this just takes it to another level. It sounds so much better. And honestly, is it worth the upgrade? Absolutely. If you can afford to upgrade it, do so. Because to be honest, you can sell your old one, put some extra cash on top, and get yourself one of these. It's a big improvement from the predecessor. And also with this, you get that excellent bass. Also, sound and speech improvement is better as well, especially when you're watching movies. You can improve the voice. You got Dolby Atmos, which means you'll be getting that excellent crisp spatial audio and surround sound with this one. So I think this is definitely a good purchase and it's worth every penny. It's really good. Honestly, I can't say anything bad about this besides it is expensive. Elsewhere though, this has Bluetooth connectivity, so you can easily just connect to this. Or you can also use that Sonos app, which adds so much issues, but is getting better and better now. They're improving it, they're listening to the customers. With that, you can listen to music from sources like Tidal for that really good sound experience. Connected to your surround sound, it sounds absolutely fantastic. The tweeters are doing their jobs, the mids, the lows, the bass. It just sounds very much balanced, and that's what you're expecting from this, and that's what Sonos are going for. It's definitely balanced, sounds really good. Of course, you can tweak things like your equalizer in the app and stuff like that to suit your preference, but if you were to just leave it as default, it sounds really good. I can't really fault it at all in that sense. But yeah, anything else I need to mention on this? It's just really good. Easy to set up, looks really good, doesn't take up too much space underneath your TV with the new design that is, but you will need a bigger console if you want to go for something like this. But it's definitely worth every penny. Over to you though, let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you get one of these, £1,000? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, drop them there as well. I hope I've covered everything in this. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.